YouTube, it's your boy, yoy, best that ever did it. A true winner, 6 p.m. We back with week 9, way too early locks. And man, we did a good week 8. It was one of those weird weeks, man. Week 8 was a weird week. It was a weird week. A lot of teams that showed nothing for the first 7 weeks just showed up in week 8 for some reason. Like Mississippi State. Who else showed up after showing no formidableness? Let's look at a recap real quick. Quick recap. UCF. That's the prime example of how week 8 went. UCF was asshole coming into that game. Mississippi State. Prime example of how that shit went. This last second Wisconsin win, shit was so damn weak. That shit is terrible if you Illinois and you lose that game. Up the whole game. Up the whole game. And this one right here, New Mexico versus Hawaii. That's kind of like a coin flip game, honestly, but at the end of the day, Hawaii is a little bit better than them. Like, come on now. Come on now. Hawaii is much better than them. And I told people Old Dominion was going to cover that game. And then Kansas State was the worst fucking game of the week for me. I had TCU on pretty much all my tickets, and they absolutely failed to keep it close whatsoever. They were never in the game, never had a shot. They never had a shot. Yeah, and Nevada Wolfpack, 0-6 Nevada just beat San Diego State at home. That's how week 8 went. That's a prime example of how week 8 went. 0-6 Nevada wins. You know what I'm saying? Or 0-7 actually, whatever the fuck they were. 1-6, 0-7. Terrible. Well, we're gonna kick it off strong this week against New Mexico State at Louisiana Tech. Now, we already know how good these two teams are, even all records given aside. Louisiana Tech just came here losing in Middle Tennessee on the road. At home, they play Western Kentucky, 7-point loss. Beat UTEP, and they didn't stick it close with Nebraska, who's out of their league. Lost to North Texas, let them put up 40. You know what I'm saying? New Mexico State coming in this one off a win against UTEP, Sam Houston, and FIU. After crumbling a first half lead to Hawaii, they could have been on a 4-game win streak if they would have beat Hawaii. Man, we already know how good these two teams are. It looks like Louisiana Tech's 2-point favorite. On a Tuesday game, I think we get points, and we get points often. I like the over, and I also like New Mexico State in this one. Louisiana Tech just showed us ways. They have ways to lose. Also, that damn Hawaii game for this team as well is pretty bad. But I think New Mexico State is just a little bit better with Diego Pava. That quarterback for New Mexico State is solid, man. I like him way more than Louisiana Tech's quarterback. So I'm going to side with New Mexico State with the better quarterback, the better offense. And I'm going to, you know what I'm saying, the more trustworthy team. Liberty at Western Kentucky. We know how good Liberty is. They did have a scare last week against Middle Tennessee, of all people. Had a real scare, but they finished them off when it mattered most. Had a scare against a shitty Sam Houston team. Finished them off when it mattered most, and it was not close. Like I said, Liberty is a beast. Jacksonville State did get a win over this Western Kentucky team who Liberty beat pretty bad. They did get a Middle Tennessee feel-good win who just kept it close with Liberty. And they beat La Tech by 7. Lost to Troy. And lost to Jacksonville State. I think it's going to be a tight game, man. I think we get under. Honestly, I think we get under the total. I think we get under this total. And I just like Liberty to close these boys out as well, man. Liberty just has the offense. Liberty has the defense. It can be a little sweaty. This game will be close. This game will be close. Western Kentucky is a live underdog. But I think Liberty finishes them off when it matters most, and we get a tight, low-scoring game. Jacksonville State at FIU. Now, look, y'all. Jacksonville State, they is good now. Don't get me wrong. They good. They 6-2. They just beat up on this. They didn't beat up on them, but they just won against Western Kentucky. But before that, they got a big scare against Middle Tennessee and went to OT with Sam Houston. Beat Eastern Michigan and lost to Coastal Carolina by 14. FIU's coming in this one. They instantly went to OT with Sam Houston as well. Lost to UTEP and lost to New Mexico and Liberty. Beat UConn in North Texas. In this game, we're going to get points early and often. Nobody's going to stop anybody. FIU's defense is shitball. That's their weakest asset is this defense for FIU. But they could put in a little 10 points, 15 maybe. I see why Jacksonville State is the big favorite. Jacksonville State, I got them to win on the money line in the over. Next up, we got Sam Houston, 0-7. Sam Houston laying 3 against a UTEP team who has nothing but a run game. And that run game hasn't even shown up this year, except for against Nevada. UNLV, FIU. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this. UTEP, they have won 2 games. They only beat Incarnate Word and FIU. Sam Houston has 2 overtime losses. One against FIU and one against Jacksonville State. Played Liberty pretty good. Played them boys close. And then they didn't look good against New Mexico State. Man, honestly, it's about if you think San Jose State Sam Houston is gonna get their first win this week. Do you think that they have what it takes to beat UTEP? You know what I'm saying? UTEP. Do you think they have what it takes to beat UTEP? I just don't see it. Honestly, I just don't see it. I know UTEP is bad though too. I know they are, man, but this is a stay away game for me. I would lean with UTEP in any points I could get. But this might be the week Sam Houston gets their first win. It might. I could see it. UTEP is one of those beatable teams. UTEP is a beatable team for Sam Houston. This might be the best matchup for Sam Houston. You know what I'm saying? So I see why, but it's still 0-7. I'm not touching them I'm not gonna trust them. You know what I'm saying? They failed to win 7 times in a row. Why would you trust them? But I do see this is a winnable game for them. But it's a stay away game for me. I'll lean with UTEP if I have to do anything though. That's just personally me. Yeah, that's a miserable game. I like the over in that game. Maybe if they get it going. But I know Utah like to run the ball too much. Slow pace. Syracuse at Virginia Tech now. Syracuse coming in this one. Falling back down to earth off that 4-0 start. They lost 3 consecutive against the big boys, Florida State, UNC, and Clemson. They had no shot in none of them games. Didn't cover a spread. All unders. Couldn't put up no offense in the last 3 games. Now they come in here against a beatable Virginia Tech team. Virginia Tech didn't look good against Florida State. Didn't look good against Marshall. Beat Pittsburgh and they beat Wake Forest. Didn't look good against Rutgers. Didn't look good against Old Dominion. Well, they looked good against Old Dominion. They didn't look good against Purdue. I'm sorry. The Old Dominion win was the biggest feel-good win besides the Pittsburgh game. Wake Forest is beatable. But Wake Forest is one of those inconsistent teams that could lose one week and look good the next week. That Wake Forest win is cool, but it's not telling me that much. Pittsburgh and their quarterback was fucking so bad when they got beat. And Marshall, if you can't beat Marshall, I can't really trust you. Yeah, this is gonna be an over. I like the over in this game. You see the points before they came into these top tier schools. You know what I'm saying? Virginia Tech is not a top tier school. Even Purdue, who fucking played Virginia Tech and beat them boys. Purdue, Syracuse put up 35 on them boys and it was an over. Well, it was an under 56, but we got a 40-point total for these two, 47. We get right over that total in Syracuse for the win. GSU, Georgia State, 6-1, baby. They came and pulled off the upset against Raging Cajuns. What a big win. Marshall took them boys down, and then they had a shit show. Lost by 21 to Troy. But before that, beat a good Coastal Carolina team. Just without that Troy loss, they've been playing good the last 4 weeks. And James Madison smacked up on these boys. Coastal Carolina, they got beat. Ball State's nobody. ULM, nobody. And before that, you let UAB put up 35. Wisconsin put up 35. And you played the Citadel. No. I like Georgia State in this one. This is a rivalry game. Rivalry games are always tight, low scoring, and fucking interesting for the underdog. Who is the better record? I like who the teams Georgia State has beaten more than the teams Georgia Southern has beaten. Georgia Southern has beaten Ball State and ULM and pretty much nobody. You know what I'm saying? Lost to James Madison. Georgia State, they beaten Marshall. They just took out a good Raging Cajuns team and Coastal Carolina. And before that, they beat a Charlotte team. You know what I'm saying? UConn's nobody. Rhode Island's nobody. Yeah. I do like a high-scoring game in this one if it wasn't fucking a rivalry game. But I like the rivalry to get the point spread on the underside. I think we maybe even get low 50s, but maybe not the lower in the 60s. Maybe 28 to 23, 30 to 24. You know what I'm saying? I like Georgia State to win that one. And the under. FAU at Charlotte. Charlotte showed formidableness against ECU. ECU is not that good, though. Never really been too high on ECU. They win the game last week against Charlotte. They failed to do that. FAU is the much better team. FAU is coming in against a loss against UTSA, who we were on last week. But before that, Illinois, they fought them boys good. They beat Tulsa by 3 in USF. I like FAU in this one all day long. FAU, Charlotte's not putting up really that much points at all. 0 against Navy. It's 10 against ECU. So in 8 quarters, the last 8 quarters, they've put up 10 points. You know what I'm saying? In the last 2 games. Yeah, that's not a recipe for success. FAU could score way easier. And this is a big opportunity for FAU to bounce back after that loss. FAU money line all day long. And to cover the spread. I got FAU to win by 10 at least. Projecting FAU to win by at least 10. Indiana at number 10, Penn State. I already told people Penn State was not going to beat Ohio. You know what I'm saying? Ohio State is just that different. Penn State is good now. Don't get me wrong. Penn State did keep it a close game. They did. They did fight them Ohio State boys pretty good. It wasn't a thrallop or nothing, you know what I'm saying? But they just failed to put up any touchdowns, all field goals. You can't win against Ohio State against that playing all field goal game. They ain't beat really nobody, like I said, coming into that game. They haven't beat anybody. That's why I had to go with Ohio State, the more battle-tested team. The best win for Penn State was West Virginia. And West Virginia is like a B plus team. You know what I'm saying? They're a solid B average team, B plus, B minus some days. But Iowa, Illinois, Northwestern, UMass, Delaware, come on now, nobody. Now they're coming up here, 30.5-point favorite against Indiana, who just lost to Rutgers by 17. Lost to Maryland bad, lost to Michigan bad, took Akron Zips to OT, and lost by 7 on a neutral site with Louisville. I see why Penn State is the big favorite in this one. I think it's going to be a little bit of a low-scoring game, but Penn State will be able to dominate them boys. I think we get a cover by Indiana and a big victory by Penn State. Feel good win. But I do got Indiana to cover the point spread. West Virginia at UCF. UCF a 7-point favorite. West Virginia fucking crumbled last week for us. I was on West Virginia against Oklahoma State, and they continue to let Oklahoma State look good. Oklahoma State is not that fucking good, but they've been looking like it last couple weeks, man. Teams have been letting them fucking stay competitive, keeps letting them score, and keeps letting them look good. That Houston loss was tough. I was riding West Virginia again against Houston, and they let me down 2 weeks in a row. TCU was a great win, and Texas Tech was also a great win. UCF, though, coming in this one, kept it very, very close. Almost beat Oklahoma Sooners after getting 30-pieced against Kansas. 1-point loss against Baylor. 13-point loss against Kansas State. You know what I'm saying? A 2-point victory against Boise, a bad Boise State. You know what I'm saying? And then they come and keep it close, but then they almost beat these boys and Oklahoma Sooners. You see what I'm talking about with college football? It's so fucking unpredictable. It's so stupid. Like, football math don't make sense, man. But anyway, UCF is a good scoring team. They are, you know what I'm saying, a good scoring team. And West Virginia is also a good scoring team. They've been putting up at least 20 for the last 4 games. When they go against Penn State, they got thralloped. And then they beat down on Duquesne. Pittsburgh beat them boys because they have no offense. And Texas Tech and TCU is their best wins of the season. And they almost beat Oklahoma State last week, but let it go late. I think coming in there off them 2 bad losses, going on the road in a hostile UCF environment, who's looking hungry, looking improved after that Oklahoma after that Oklahoma loss. I think they sneak a victory out, man. UCF to get the victory here. I'm gonna ride with UCF in the offense. I do like the over. Both of these teams aren't stopping the nosebleed. They ain't stopping the fucking fly from getting in their house. They couldn't even probably stop They probably couldn't even. I ain't gonna lie to you. Boy. Neither one of these teams, if they were to play Boston College, bro, neither one of these teams would be able to stop Boston College from scoring. So I just think we get a lot of points because both of these teams got good offenses. I like the over, and I like UCF to win. UMass at Army, who just got shitballed against LSU. I told people LSU was going to cover that. I didn't expect them to win by 60, though, but I I knew they were going to cover the 30-40 spread. That's a good number for that. Army put up 0 points. UMass is on a 6-game slump. They haven't won against anybody since week 1 against New Mexico State. Lost to Penn State by 63. Got dubbed by Toledo. Dubbed by Arkansas State. New Mexico took them to OT. Lost to EMU. Lost to Miami of Ohio. Now you're coming in here against an Army team who just got 60-pieced, 19-pieced. In 8 quarters, they put up 0 points in 2 games. But BC, Boston College, kept it competitive. That's respectable. Syracuse kept it respectable. UTSA beat them boys. I like Army in this one to get the job done at home after a shit show. I like Army. Not by 10, though. I don't like Army by 10. Just money line. Just money line Army. UConn at BC. Boston College. Of course, I'm going to go Boston College. Boston College coming in off a great win. I did side with Boston College a little bit in that one because Georgia Tech is too unpredictable. They're too inconsistent. They could beat Miami one day and then they could go lose to Bowling Green like they did, and then they go lose to Boston College after beating Miami. You know what I'm saying? It's just too unpredictable, too soft. These boys are soft. If you're like that, if you're like too inconsistent, you can't never string wins together, you're losing head scratcher games, that means you're soft. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you're soft. You're letting lame, lesser opponents beat you. You're soft. You feel me? So that's all it is. Georgia Tech is soft this year. I don't have no problem fading Georgia Tech anymore. That's a soft team. Army beat them boys. Virginia beat them boys. And if you could see every game, every single game, both teams are scoring in the 20s. I think this is a trend that continues this week. Over the total in Boston College to win. Is UConn will put up some points too, but they're not better than Boston College. Houston coming in this one, who just fucking kept it dog wash close with Texas. Coming in against Kansas State, who just shitted on TCU, bro. They just shitted on my TCU. TCU, that was a terrible show. The team who just lost to Oklahoma State just shitted on y'all. You know what I'm saying? So Oklahoma State will beat TCU when we see that matchup. I don't know. My side of Oklahoma State. These niggas letting these boys look good. Kansas State keep making these niggas look good. But in real reality, man, Houston is not good at all. You know what I'm saying? Houston is 3-4, 0-2 on the road. Straight up 0-2 on the road. Lost bad to Rice. Lost bad to Texas Tech. What makes you think they're gonna come here on the road and beat Kansas State? You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna happen. Kansas State money line, but I like Houston to cover the spread. Maybe though, maybe that's a big spread. I think that's enough to cover, but I wouldn't depend on Houston to cover anything. I like Kansas State to win that one though, money line. Or if you could buy it down to a touchdown, I'll take Kansas State by a touchdown. Clemson at North Carolina State. We told people to fade Clemson last week, and they went to OT, and it went in our favor. Miami got the W. Wake Forest lost by 5 to them. Florida State beat them, and Syracuse had no shot against them. You know what I'm saying? Duke got the big win week 1. North Carolina State now just took a shit show to Duke. We told people fade them boys on week 7. We did. Duke did what they supposed to do. This was probably the best win of the season for these boys. Beat Marshall. And then other than that Marshall win, they kept it close with Louisville. I got Clemson to win this one. Clemson on money line. That's That's out of their tax bracket. Clemson is out of their range. That's a different caliber team. North Carolina at Georgia Tech. You already know where we're going. North Carolina to cover any spread. North Carolina to cover the spread and the over. Georgia Tech ain't got no lick of defense. They not stopping North Carolina. And Georgia Tech could probably put up 14 points. I like the over in that game. Georgia Tech over and the North Carolina to cover that spread. Whatever it is, gonna be a big number. I know that. 20-point spread. Florida State at Wake Forest. Wake Forest kept it close with Clemson. 17-12. Lost. Florida State coming to this one, beating Duke by damn near 20. Shitted on them boys in Syracuse. Wake Forest showed formidableness against Clemson, but they're losing shit shows to Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech. They're losing bad against bad teams. You know what I'm saying? They can't hang with Florida State. It's a different tax bracket, different competition level. 7-0 for a reason. I got Florida State to cover the 20. South Carolina, Texas A&M. Texas A&M is going to get this one. Alabama and Tennessee are both rough outings, and they kept it within one score. Beat up on a good Auburn team. Beat up on a decent little Arkansas team. And they also kept it close in that Miami game, but they lost that shit late. We know how good Miami is at home. That's why I keep telling them, when Miami's at home, ride with them. When Miami's on the road, that's a good fade. But yeah, I liked them against South Carolina. Spencer Rattler is not nothing special. Lost to Missouri like we said they would. I thought they would have kept it closer, though. Honestly, I thought they could have covered the spread. But I knew Missouri was going to win money line, though. Florida, that was a good game against them boys. But you know how dormant Florida's offense is. Texas A&M's offense is not dormant like Florida. Texas A&M could score at will. Tennessee, dub. You only beat Mississippi State in the last 4 games. You know what I'm saying? Only look good against Furman and Mississippi State. Texas A&M is way better than them. Texas A&M the latest 14. They gonna win by a dub at least. Maryland at Northwestern. We got Maryland. Latest spread. Northwestern kept it close last week against Nebraska, but they ain't really have a shot altogether. Got beat bad by Penn State. Beat Howard by 3. They took Minnesota to OT. Lost bad against Duke by 24. Rutgers beat them by fucking 20. No, they beat them by 17. Yeah. Rutgers beat them boys by 17. Maryland gonna beat them by 14 at least. I got them to beat them by a 20 piece though. At least 24-point win for Maryland. Maryland did just take a clunker to Illinois though. Don't forget about that clunker to Illinois. And that's why we rolled with Illinois last week against Wisconsin. Wisconsin got a last-second score. Man, that shit was so weak. Oklahoma, who just got a big scare against them boys in UCF. But before that, Oklahoma's 7-0 streak. They beat Texas, UCF, Iowa State, Cincinnati, Tulsa, SMU, and Arkansas State. Look at the numbers they're putting up. You know what I'm saying? Them boys always have a dynamic playbook, dynamic offense. Kansas will try to keep this game very competitive. Against Texas, they did not. They kept it close in the first quarter, second quarters. But after that, Texas ran away with that. It was no shot. BYU, that's a good win. Illinois, that's a good win. But, you know, Illinois is having a down year. Letting Nevada stay in the back door within 7, it's not a good look. And that Oklahoma State game, people continues to keep letting Oklahoma State look good. So yeah, I like Oklahoma to cover the number in this one. Big time. Oklahoma could cover the number. Texas beat them boys bad. I think I think Oklahoma definitely could keep them boys within at least 17 points at the end of the game. It's like a 17-point differential to me. But don't think the Kansas Jayhawks are sweet, though. Don't think they sweet. They could keep this game close in the first half. If you want to take Kansas, take them in the first half to cover the spread. That's the best shot they got. But after that second half start, Oklahoma gonna run away with it. Duke at Louisville, 6-1 Louisville versus 5-2 Duke. Now this is a good matchup. Ranked versus ranked. Duke just got beat up by a good Florida State team. That was a hostile environment. And at home against Notre Dame, they lost by 7. That ain't bad. You know what I'm saying? That ain't bad. Clemson beat them boys. First game of the year, we showed that Cade Klubnik is not good. They played really nobody after that, though. Louisville beat this Notre Dame team bad by fucking 13. Lost to Pittsburgh bad, though. That's a bad loss right there. That Pittsburgh loss is horrendous. And Georgia Tech, Murray State, Indiana, BC. I like the competition level that Louisville's played. They've been prepped for this game. I think we see a good game, though, man. Duke is a motherfucker to play this year. Duke is not a damn pushover this year. But I like a little bit more of an offensive showing for Louisville in this one. Louisville has the better offense. I think Duke could keep it gritty and grimy, though. Man, this is going to be a good game, though. Good game. I like the under, and I like Louisville to get the job done. UVA, Virginia, at Miami. We got Miami at home. When Miami's at home against a scrub like this, take Miami. I got whatever spread. I'll lay the number. Miami to win that one big time. Tulsa at SMU. We got to go with SMU in this one. SMU is the far better dominant team, and they're at home. Tulsa is inconsistent, and they're only playing good against those low-tier teams. As you can see, when Tulsa's on the road against a better team, they've only beaten NIU. That's a good win on the road against a better team. FAU didn't happen. At Rice at home, you're playing Rice at home. And I told people, man, Rice had it in them. Like I said, the quarterback plays. What that came down to, who's the better quarterback? JT Daniels? That boy is going to do what he do. Luke McCaffrey, he's going to do what he do. JT Daniels is the better fucking shit, man. JT Daniels got that shit on him. But against these bigger schools, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to look good against them. Washington and Oklahoma, of course. But, you know what I'm saying? You just beat Temple. Who did you beat this year? Temple, Arkansas Pine Bluff, and a good win against NIU. That's it. You're not going to beat SMU, man. SMU coming in off a stumpeth against Temple, stumped ECU, stumped Charlotte, and they lost to TCU. You know what I'm saying? Lost to Oklahoma. That's their only 2 losses. SMU is a different level caliber team. I got SMU to win by 10, at least 10 points. Maybe even 17. I'll lay 17 with SMU. Western Michigan, EMU. This going to be a good game. Kept it close with these boys. Kept it close with Mississippi State. Beat Ball State. Got nothing. Ball State has nothing going on for themselves. Miami of Ohio is a little bit of a top, the top team in this division on the lower side. And Ohio is too. At home, beat Ball State. Lost to Miami of Ohio by 13. And they beat SFPA, St. Francis, Pennsylvania. Syracuse, Iowa, shitted on them. Toledo shitted on them by 18. Mississippi State shitted on them. Them a lot of road games, though, and they're back on the road. You can see they're 0-5 on the road. Haven't won a game away from home yet. Eastern Michigan covered the 11.5 last week. Had NIU on the ropes. NIU scored late to win the game. But they've only beaten Ball State and Kent State. And UMass, you know what I'm saying? UMass, and they beat also them in the Howard team. course, the only game that I bet on Eastern Michigan was the game they got 21 blowed out. As you can see, they're a covering machine. Cover a lot of spreads. They always get big spreads. But yeah, Eastern Michigan is formidable. 4-0 at home versus an 0-5 on the road team. But I think this is a game that we could see get very, very, very close to the wire. Another rivalry game, Western Michigan versus Eastern Michigan. And I like the fucking over in this one. Honestly, I like the over. Like I said, I know the rivalry games are low scoring, tight. They want to make it chippy, but I think it's gonna be one of more offensive showing for the game. Like they gonna let they talk and do through their offense. Both of these teams have no defense. Eastern Michigan is probably the little bit better defensive team, but I think Western Michigan has a little bit more better offense. So I think we get an over when it's like that mismatch on each side. I think we get the over. And I like Western Michigan to cover the spread. I just think EMU is good. They're 4-0 at home. But it just always says something. Western Michigan, they always got a little bit of fight in them, man. I'm going to go with the damn underdog in this one to cover the spread. But I like EMU to probably get the victory. I just like Western Michigan to cover touchdown spread. Maybe if it's 2 touchdowns, I love it. Western Michigan to cover 2 touchdowns. But Eastern Michigan probably is going to get the W outright. Memphis at North Texas. Now, I got to go with Memphis in this one. Memphis is out of these boys' range. But like I said, I went with Memphis in the over last week, and you can see it hit perfectly. UAB was on these boys' ass early on. Just kept scoring. They had 8. Then they went and scored down the field again. I think like the first 4 drives combined all ended in touchdowns. Easy money on the over and easy money on Memphis to win. They're a different tax bracket for UAB. Tulane is somebody that could beat Memphis. Missouri is somebody that could beat Memphis. Boise State almost beat Memphis. And the Navy almost beat Memphis, who couldn't score over a damn 7. North Texas is a high-scoring team as well. They put up 28 against Tulane, 24 against Navy, 45 on Temple, bad team. But they're not winning against the teams they need to win against, like Navy, Florida State. I mean, they let Cal do their shit week 1. I think that's what Memphis has, a Cal game against North Texas. I think Memphis might score 50 themselves this week, and North Texas can add on to the points total. I like the over in Memphis again this week. BYU at number 7, Texas. We got Texas to lay the 2 touchdowns. I'll take it down to 14. It's going to be a low-scoring game. BYU can't score a lot. BYU is that bad. BYU did just get a victory over Texas Tech after looking bad the last 3 weeks. Barely beat Cincinnati, lost to Kansas, and lost to TCU by 33. Before that, you beat an Arkansas team, and you beat Texas Tech last week. Super inconsistent. I wouldn't trust them. Texas is the far more trustworthy team. Beat Kansas bad. Team that just shitted on BYU. You know what I'm saying? Houston kept it close. Oklahoma got it done in neutral site. But it's not no competition. They shitted on Alabama, shitted on Baylor, shitted on Wyoming, shitted on Kansas. You know what I'm saying? Texas is far better at home. I got Texas to lay the 3 touchdowns all day long. But just because it's a low-scoring team, I like the low-scoring matchup. It might keep BYU in the game with all those points. But like I said, man, BYU is nobody. BYU is nobody. I like Texas to cover the spread, 3 touchdowns. I'll still lay it. Miami of Ohio at Ohio. Battle with 6-2 Ohio teams. 4-0 at home, 4-1 on the road. Ohio's beat Western Michigan by 3. Lost to NIU when they needed to step up. They couldn't. Kent State and Bowling Green, nobody's. Last four games for Ohio. Last four games for Ohio, Miami, Ohio lost to Toledo by 4 at home. One of the top schools and thing. They couldn't keep it. They couldn't win it almost. They beat this Western Michigan team way more comfortably than Ohio did. Beat Bowling Green, held them to 0. Beat that same Kent State team, nobody. And they beat Cincinnati in overtime. As you can see, they let Kent State put up 17, let Bowling Green put up 7 instead of 0. Beat Iowa State and FIU, and they lost to that bad San Diego State team who just lost to Nevada. I like Miami of Ohio to cover the spread if they're the underdog, which I'm imagining they will be. I think we just take the point spread with the underdog in this matchup. Both teams are damn near dead even. I like what I've seen from Miami of Ohio more than what I've seen from Ohio, who's supposed to be the #1 school in this conference. They have failed to show me they are. I think it's going to go to Toledo. But Miami of Ohio is probably the next in line after Toledo. I got Miami of Ohio to win this one in a low-scoring, chippy game. Under and Miami of Ohio to cover the spread. Michigan State, Minnesota. Minnesota's laying 7, and I don't like it. I know they just got held out, shut out by Michigan. Michigan's a top 2 school in the world. They're #2, I believe. What are they ranked? They 8, no. They gotta be #2 in the world or something like that. I think I seen them at #2, yeah. Because Georgia's still #1. But yeah, Michigan's about to be #1. I just don't know if Minnesota could beat this Michigan State team still. As you can see, Michigan State is on a 5-game losing streak. Look who they've been playing. Maryland, Washington, Rutgers, and Michigan, Iowa. All big, good schools and shit. You know what I'm saying? The damn game I thought they had the best shot to win was this Iowa game. I picked Michigan State to upset these boys, and they got the cover for us on the spread at least, pushed. But we knew that they were going to lose the rest of those games. They only beat Central Michigan and Richmond. Minnesota coming this one. Beat Iowa by 2 points. Lost to Michigan bad, but didn't get shut out. Raging Cajuns, almost. You know what I'm saying? I picked Raging Cajuns that week, and they did exactly what they were supposed to do all up until the last 2 quarters. And they beaten Nebraska is another good win, and EMU. It's a solid, all right win. But you let Northwestern take you to overtime and put up 34. I like Michigan State in this one. I'm gonna ride on them one more time, see if they could get a bounce back upset victory. But it's not looking good for Michigan State. I wouldn't trust this game. I wouldn't force it. This is a stay away game for Michigan State. This is a stay away game, period. But if I had to lean with anything, I'll lean with Michigan State plus the points. Oregon at Utah. Utah just beat up on USC with a nail biter ending. Beat up on Cal the week before that and lost to Oregon State. Beat UCLA team. Beat Baylor. And lost. They lost to Oregon State. That's the only loss of the year. Oregon, on the other hand, they're 6-1. Let Washington State hang in there. Washington almost choked a little bit, but if Oregon would have made some better play calling, we could have seen a different result. They missed some field goal opportunities, just going for it instead of kicking a field goal. Stanford, no contest. Colorado, no contest. Hawaii, no contest. You almost let Texas Tech beat you as well, but they got it done late with an interception. This Oregon team is beatable, just like this Utah team is. I'm gonna have to side with Oregon in this one. Just the quarterback play alone is different. The quarterback play alone is the difference maker in this game. Oregon is the far better offensive team, and they can hang with defense, but I think Utah is the better defensive team. But in this type of game, offense will win you the game. The difference is going to be who's taking field goals and who's scoring touchdowns, who's punting the ball and who's getting first downs. I think Oregon does that more than Utah to win the game. Oregon on the money line. It's only 5.5 point spread. I like Oregon on the money line. Mississippi State at Auburn. Auburn is middle of the pack. Lost to a good LSU team by 30. Lost to Ole Miss by 7. We told people Ole Miss. Jackson Dart's different. Lost to Texas A&M by 17 on the road. At home against a number one Georgia team, they almost beat them Georgia Bulldogs. They did. They almost beat Georgia, but they didn't. You know what I'm saying? They didn't, and they only beat Cal by 4. Mississippi State's coming this one off an upset win, 7-3. Ugly game for Arkansas. Western Michigan, Alabama handled you. South Carolina handled you. LSU team handled you. Arizona almost handled you too. Like we rode on them, but like I said, man, Auburn is the better team here. I got Auburn on the money line. Auburn is at home, the better team. Mississippi State, they're outright against the middle of the pack teams, but not against an Auburn team. UTSA versus ECU. I got UTSA to cover the spread. ECU, I got the over on this game, though. I hope it's in the 40s. This is going to be a 60-point game, 60, 70-point game. UTSA is going to be in the 40s themselves. ECU might put up 24 or 21. It's going to be like 44 to 21 or something. UTSA victory and the over. UGA, Florida, coming off the bye week. Neutral site, 7-0 Georgia, who just came in off of the rollop to the last 4 schools except Auburn. Florida, they's not the better team. You know what I'm saying? They lost to Kentucky bad on the road. Beat South Carolina barely. They did have a great win against Tennessee, and they lost to Utah. I think we see a game like Utah in this one. I think Georgia gets the victory. It's going to be a lower scoring game. Georgia's lost Brock Bowers, one of the best tight ends in the nation right now. You know what I'm saying? Georgia might have a sluggish game coming off the bye. But I like Georgia to win this game comfortably. Florida to keep it close first half, get blown out in the second half. I like the under in this game, and I like Georgia to win comfortably. Purdue, Nebraska. And I gotta go with Nebraska. Purdue is not gonna beat teams like this, playing how they play. Prime example, if you go look in this Iowa game, I thought they had the best shot to beat Iowa. No, sir. You should see how they played. The only good win they had is against Illinois, a team that's having a down year. Nebraska will limit these Purdue Boilermakers to defensive stops, 3 and outs. Nebraska's defense is serious. That's what wins them their games. And I like Nebraska at home in that hostile environment. Purdue is not going to be able to hang with these boys. Nebraska to win, cover the 3. Nebraska will cover this 3. App State, Southern Mississippi. App State all day long. Southern Mississippi is not getting backed. I don't know why everybody's so in love with Southern Mississippi. They're probably thinking about 3-4 years ago or something. I'm not sure when they were last good, but it ain't this year for sure. App State is not that good either. This is a down year for App State. Keep telling people that they're not consistent. They almost lost to ULM, lost to Old Dominion, lost to Coastal Carolina, lost to Wyoming, which is a good school in Wyoming. They almost lost to ECU, but pulled it off late. They're so inconsistent after taking North Carolina to overtime. You know what I'm saying? But with all that being said, App State is the better team, the better offense, and they're at home. I got App State on the money line. App State on the money line. They're out of this tax. They're out of their tax bracket. Pitt's at Notre Dame. Notre Dame coming in this one, looking like a 6-2 team after beating USC comfortably. They lost to Louisville and they had a fight against Duke. So they're 2-2. 2-2 in their last 4 matchups. Pittsburgh 2-5 on the year. Wake Forest stumped them out in the last 5 seconds of the fucking game. Last second score for Wake to get the job done. And Louisville, that was a feel-good victory for Pittsburgh. But outside of that Louisville win, thrall up against North Carolina, thrall up against Virginia Tech on the road, lost to Wake Forest. You're not going to beat Notre Dame. I'm sorry. You're not going to beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame will win this game, but Pittsburgh to cover just because it's a lower scoring team on both sides. It's going to be way more defensive stops than usual. I like Pittsburgh to cover, but I like Notre Dame to win comfortably. 2-touchdown win for Notre Dame. Iowa State at Baylor. And I got to go with Iowa State in this one. Classic upset football math type of game. As you can see, Baylor's been fighting some tough competition. Texas, Utah, UCF, Texas Tech, and even at Cincinnati. That was a tough game for Baylor. But like I said, man, Iowa State is like Oklahoma State to me. Iowa State, as you can see, these two head-to-head. It was last year, Baylor won by 7. The year before that, Baylor won by 2. Both one-score games. The year before that, Iowa State. But when Baylor was last at home, 2021, Baylor was at home. It was a 2-point game. I know these are two different teams since then, but I got to go with Iowa State, man. Honestly, I got to go with Iowa State to cover the points. Baylor is first in the Big 12. But if you see what Iowa State's been doing, they thrall up these Cincinnati boys, beat TCU, beat this Oklahoma State team, who's everybody's making them look good. And they only lost to Oklahoma in their last 4 games. I don't know why they're the underdog. I do get it. They lost to Ohio, lost to Iowa. I understand. Those are 2 clunkers. 2 clunkers, you know what I'm saying? So I understand it. But it's classic football math. Iowa State is the better defensive team. They do have the better defense, and I think they can hang with them on offense. I like this game to go over the total. I don't know why it's in the 40s. It's going to be at least a 50-point game. I like the over, and I like Iowa State to win that one. USC, who's been anti-tanking. I seen a meme. They talking about USC start anti-tanking and get away from the Bears. Man, screw y'all, man. Man, we don't want Caleb Williams anyway. We got Jay Fields already. I'm cool with Justin Fields. But nah, we need some more pieces than a fucking quarterback. I know we got a good quarterback already over there. Justin Fields is not the problem. We need a coach, and we need an O-line, and we need another star receiver or a star running back, and we will be solid. You know what I'm saying? We need a Bijan Robinson. We need a Justin Jefferson. We need a star. I'm talking about a star. 5-star. Like, they will never fail to fucking get one. They will never fucking get a fucking star, man. They always passing up. Passed up on Mike Vick. Passed up on Donovan McNabb, who came from Thornwood. Passed up on Chris Olave. Passed up on Jackson Smith and Jigma. Passed up on a lot of these goofies. Passed up on Patrick Mahomes. Passed up on Deshaun Watson to get Mitchell Trubisky. It's just for what the Bears do. We don't want Caleb Williams anyway. You know what I'm saying? They say they USC been anti-tanking, man. That's hilarious. But USC has been on a 2-game losing streak, losing 2 goofy games, and they let Arizona take them to overtime. Let Colorado put up 41. Like my homie said, shout out to Ben. USC has no defense. They're all offense, no defense. All offense, but no defense. But this California team is beatable. California lost to Utah, Oregon State. They put up 40 on Oregon State though. Lost to Washington, put up 32 against Washington. They did lose to Auburn. You know what I'm saying? California is a good team. I think California will keep it formidable. They will keep this game close, but I like USC to get the job done at the end of the day. I like USC to get the job done. That's out of their tax bracket for California. If you're not beating Auburn, you're not beating USC, even with USC's defense being terrible. You're not beating USC. But I do like Cal, though. I do like Cal this year. I'm a Cal fan. They've been showing me good strides this year, but not against USC. Tulane is number 3 in the world at Rice, who just got a great feel-good victory. And this is a classic over. I think we get nothing less than an over. You can see Rice is kind of inconsistent, losing to USF bad, in a game that we were on Rice. Lost to them boys terribly. Let ECU hang in there with you and let UConn, get their first win of the season in a game they should have lost. Tulsa, you did what you're supposed to do. But yeah, Tulane is out of their tax bracket. Tulane is going to win this game. Tulane beat Memphis, North Texas, UAB. All high-scoring teams. And you see all in the 50s, low 60s. Lost to Ole Miss, and that's about it. You know what I'm saying? That Ole Miss loss is excusable. Tulane will win this game by more than 10. I like the over. This should be already a 60-point total. It's at 55 right now. It will go up to 58 by the damn snap. So I know the first snap, this total should be up at about 59, 58. So get the point spread early. This is why we're doing these early locks. This is an early lock. Tulane in the over. UL Lafayette, South Alabama. Raging Cajuns just came to take a loss. While USA has been on a 2-game winning streak, beating, putting 55 up in consecutive weeks. This South Alabama team's found their comfort zone, found their stride, their rhythm. Raging Cajuns, they're 2-2 in their last 4, but in their last 3 matchups, they're 1-2, only beating Texas State by 4 after allowing 30. And I think this is a good game right here. I think we both got 2 high-scoring offenses. I like South Alabama to get the job done at home. I think the difference is home field advantage. If the Raging Cajuns were at home, I would pick Raging Cajuns. But if South Alabama's at home, putting up 55 in consecutive weeks, in 2 consecutive weeks they've scored 110 points, I'm gonna back you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've got some type of rhythm going. Yes, they were against lesser opponents. I understand. I don't expect them to put 55 up on Raging Cajuns, but they will put up at least 26, 20, 29 to 40. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a high-scoring game. Raging Cajuns has no defense. They let Buffalo put up 38. A Buffalo team who lost to Bowling Green. And USA has just been on a roll the last 2 games. I got to go with the over and USA to win. South Alabama. ULM and Arkansas State. I want to see who's going to be the favorite in this game. If ULM is the favorite, I'm backing Arkansas State plus the points. Like I said, Arkansas State has a little bit of formidableness in them. They do have a decent little team. They're just not going to beat those bigger schools. And this is a beatable school for Arkansas State. ULM is 2-5. Let's look at their losses. ULM has lost to Texas A&M. That's out of their tax bracket. Lost to USA terribly. Lost to Texas State by 1 point, and they lost to Georgia Southern and App State by 1 point. You know what I'm saying? They're on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game losing streak. After winning their first 2 games against Army and Lamar, they've failed to win another game. Arkansas State lost to Coastal Carolina, a better team. Troy, the better team in the conference. Against UMass, a team that they could beat them boys. Southern Mississippi, a team that they can beat them boys. Stony Brook, a team that they can beat them boys. Memphis, a team that they can't beat. Oklahoma, a team that they can't beat. They're beating the winnable games. Arkansas State is. I like Arkansas to cover any points if they're the underdog. ULM, they're pretty good. I like the over in this game. I like any over with these two teams. Over in Arkansas to cover the point spread. Damn near get the outright victory for Arkansas State. Wyoming at Boise State. Boise State is not that good. I got Wyoming. Wyoming is the better team here. Wyoming is the much better team here. Boise State looks shitball against San Jose State. Terrible showing for Boise State. They never had a shot. Never had a shot. Wyoming's way better than San Jose State. So, classic football math. Wyoming to get the victory. Marshall at Coastal Carolina. 4-3 schools. Coastal Carolina coming in this one. Looking good lately, but they only beat up Arkansas State by 10 and App State by 3. Lost to Georgia State, lost to Georgia Southern. Beat Jacksonville State. Marshall lost to JMU, lost to Georgia State, lost to North Carolina State. Damn near lost to Old Dominion. They beat Virginia Tech though. Beat ECU and Albany by 4. Yeah, I gotta go with Coastal Carolina in this one. I like the damn under in this game as well. I think it's gonna be a high point spread. I hope it start off in the 50s, the high 50s. I like the under. I like Coastal Carolina at home. The home field advantage for Coastal Carolina will be the difference. Quarterback play is solid on both sides, but I like Coastal Carolina a little bit more at home. Troy at Texas State. I like Troy in this one. And Texas State is good. Don't get me wrong. Texas State is good, but I think Texas State has a little bit more question marks around them. Troy has been solid in conference play. 4-0 in their last 4 matchups, so riding this streak. And Texas State coming in this one looking a little bit inconsistent, letting Nevada put up 24. Southern Mississippi put up 36. And they almost lost to ULM. So it's like a sweat every game with these boys. You know what I'm saying? Troy is beating teams decisively, comfortably. There's no sweat with Troy. I like Troy to get the victory in this one. Number 20, Tennessee, who just almost beat Alabama, versus Kentucky. I like Tennessee in this one to cover the 4 points. Easy money. Air Force at Colorado State. Air Force is number 19 in the world. They moved down from 22. 7-0 after a fucking shit show of a game last week. Couldn't cover the fucking over. Look at all of these weeks prior. 34, 49, 45. And then now when I pick over, I put a teaser on these boys to go over 26 points combined. 26. The original spread was at 34. I bought it down to 26. And they still went under that. You know what I'm saying? After putting up 34, 49, 45, 39. Like, that's the type of week 8 was. You know what I'm saying? Week 8 was a weird-ass week. Stupid-ass shit was happening week 8. We gonna get the fucking over on this week. Colorado State allows everybody to score high. Boise State, Utah Tech put up 20. Damn near 3 touchdowns almost. You know what I'm saying? Middle Tennessee put up 23. They have allowed at least 24 points or more in their last 7 games. You know what I'm saying? So I like the over and I like Air Force. Again, I like the over and Air Force. Last week we got Air Force money line, but we didn't get the over. I think we continue with Air Force and the over. Colorado State couldn't fucking take out UNLV. I like UNLV to get that W, and I like Colorado State to cover. Colorado State was up early in that game, and they let UNLV come back. So I think Air Force is the much better team, and I like the over. Washington at Stanford. Washington is the much better team. Stanford took a shitball of a show against UCLA, and they're 0-4 at home. Washington is a different tax bracket animal for them. This is not going to be close. I got Washington to lay the big number. Vanderbilt versus Ole Miss, man. Jackson Dart and them boys at home against Vanderbilt, the team to beat up on. Every week I tell y'all, Vanderbilt is the team to beat up on. I like Mississippi State to cover the spread. I think this is a 30-point victory for Mississippi. Mississippi might put up 50 here, might put up 44, 48. I like Vanderbilt to lose bad. They might lose by 30, maybe even 35. Mississippi is just that good. They're 6-1, ranked number 11 in the world, top 10 school in the world. Vanderbilt is the team to beat up on. Colorado plus 17 against UCLA, who just took Stanford down, who Colorado was up 29 against and choked. I like UCLA in this one to win the game, but I like Colorado to cover. Colorado will cover. Ohio State at Wisconsin. Ohio State gonna get the victory here, no doubt about it. You know what I'm saying? Wisconsin is terrible. They just almost let Illinois beat them, who's having a down year. But they came back and won in the last 45 seconds of the game. Ohio State held off Penn State, another undefeated team at the time. And Ohio State is the much better team. Beat up Notre Dame and Penn State in less than 4 weeks span. I like Ohio State to get the feel-good victory. Easy matchup for Ohio State. With Washington State at Arizona State. Arizona State's 1-6. Washington State is the better team here. You already know Cam Ward and those boys are still going crazy. Like they kept it close with Oregon last week. But Arizona State has been keeping it close with other teams like USC as well this year and Colorado. But Washington State is a different animal. Washington State is the much better offense. Washington State has 4 wins instead of 1. I like Washington State on the money line. Old Dominion at James Madison. James Madison 7-0. Old Dominion's inconsistent at times, but they're 4-3. Lost to Marshall. They almost let Texas A&M Commerce beat them. It's not a good look against a James Madison team. I like the over, and I like James Madison. No defense will be played from Old Dominion. Old Dominion might get blown out here. James Madison is going to score in that first quarter. They got some of the best first quarter points of any team in the nation. Once James Madison gets going in that second quarter, it's hard to stop them. James Madison 7-0 for a reason. James Madison to finish the boys off in Old Dominion, and I like the over. Cincinnati at Oklahoma State. I like Oklahoma State in this one. I'm catching on to the hype late. Yes, these boys keep looking good. I like Oklahoma State, though, to finish off a Cincinnati team who's not in these. These is not in tax bracket. You know what I'm saying? I feel bad for Cincinnati because they should have stayed in the American Athletic Conference with Tulane. That's the teams that they could beat. These big schools like these, Oklahoma States and Oklahoma and Baylor, you see what I'm saying? Like they barely lost to Baylor, but you see just the different talent level and the different level of schools. Like in the Big 12 is different from the American Athletic Conference. So I don't think Cincinnati has a good conference schedule. They're going to be in the lower tier of their conference, and I think Oklahoma follows suit. Oklahoma State to win this game. Number 12, Oregon State at Arizona. Arizona just came off a great win against these boys, Washington State, and they took USC to OT. Lost this by 7 to Washington. Took Mississippi State to OT. Oregon State is 6-1. Did beat up on UCLA, beat up on Cal, beat up on Utah, and they lost to Washington State by 3. I like this game to go over the total. Both quarterbacks are elite. Both offenses could put up points. I like the over, and then I like Oregon State to win this one. But don't sleep on Arizona, man. I'm telling people Arizona is good this year. They're tough out every game. Tough out. You cannot go roll up when Arizona is not a doormat this year. They're tough out every game. But Oregon State is a slightly better team. Super slightly. I like Arizona to lose this one, but keep it close. They might win the first half, but lose it late. I like Arizona. I like Oregon State in this one, and the over. New Mexico at Nevada. Nevada got their first win after being 0-6. New Mexico just got a good win against Hawaii. And I'm going to go with New Mexico in this one, man. New Mexico's 3-4. Yes, those wins have come against bullshit teams, but Hawaii was probably their best win. I like New Mexico in this one. They showed more fight. Even when they played Wyoming, they showed more fight. Nevada's got no offense, no defense. When they won this game, they put up 6 points, 2 field goals to get their first win. That's terrible. You're not about to beat them boys in New Mexico. They could put up 30. New Mexico to cover the spread. UNLV 6-1. UNLV at Fresno State 6-1 as well. And Fresno haven't been playing no scrubs. They played Wyoming. They lost to Wyoming. That's the only loss of the year. They let Utah State look good against them. That's a bad look. But they beat up on this Arizona State team. Beat up on Purdue. First game of the year. UNLV almost let Colorado State beat them. They pulled it off super late. Nevada put up 27 against them. Hawaii got 20 on them. And Michigan was the only one to beat them that bad. You know what I'm saying? They beat Vanderbilt by 3. The team to beat up on this year. I like Fresno State at home to simmer down these UNLV Rebels. I like Fresno State to get the home victory. I think the difference in this one is the home field advantage and the fucking coaching. I like the coaching in Fresno and the defense for Fresno a little bit more than UNLV's defense. Defense and the home field advantage is what's going to get Fresno the edge. And last game but not least, we got one of them late last game of the damn day Hawaii games where Hawaii always have that edge. San Jose State coming off a good victory against Utah State and New Mexico State. They did let Boise finish the job off, but I still consider that a loss to Boise State. They were down. Look at the game, y'all. San Jose State 14-7, and then they scored another 13 in the second quarter. It was 27-14 in the second. By the end of the second quarter, 27-14, and then they absolutely didn't score again to lose the game. You know what I'm saying? One of those type of games. That's a damn near a loss for Boise State. I still consider that a win. San Jose State should be on a 3-game winning streak right now, but shoulda doesn't count. But they're on a 2-game winning streak. I think they keep it going for here for 3 to beat up on Hawaii. Hawaii didn't look good against New Mexico State, but they came back and won. They should have lost that one too. Hawaii hasn't been looking good the last 4 weeks. I got San Jose State to win this one. And that's how we're going to close out the early Week 9 locks. Leave me your top 5 locks and your best 3-bet parlay. And that's how we do it, man. We're going to keep finding underdog value, keep finding the early spreads, the early overs, the early unders. And that's what we do with early locks, man. Way too early NCAA football locks. Week 9 edition. It's your boy, Oyoy. Catch y'all on the next one for my official Week 9 video.